Greetings to you, dear faithful people of Christ. Today we are going to share the Gospel according to Mark chapter 8, verse 22 to 26, under the sub-theme, He restored sight to the blind man and he saw everything clearly. My dear brothers and sisters, in the Gospel of today we hear that when Jesus goes to Bethsaida, when he reaches in Bethsaida with his disciples, the people stop him and beg him to heal the blind man in Bethsaida. And this to us today, my dear brothers and sisters, should be a meditation, should be a question of reflecting upon our lives as to how consistent and how we persevere in our prayer life. This factor that the people begged Jesus to heal the blind man, it is not a calling or a sign for us to reflect that why do the people have to beg Jesus, whereas he is the Son of God, whereas he is God himself. But it's actually a sign to tell us and to invite us to reflect that in our prayer life, in our Christian life, we should be persevering and we should be consistent, begging the Lord and always pleading for his mercy and for his love. Reading furthermore, we hear that when Jesus heals the man, he takes him out of the village and he heals him. And this one, we look at it as an invitation for all of us to approach Jesus personally, individually, and talk to him in our own hearts and bringing to him all our problems that on our own, in a sacred space and at a sacred time with Jesus Christ, we invite him in our lives to restore our lives. We don't necessarily need to be in a crowd, because many a times the crowd is full of sin. The crowd is full of noise and distraction. The crowd is full of addiction that drives us away from the love of Christ. And this is why Jesus takes the blind man out of the crowd and Jesus heals the blind man. And towards the end of the gospel, we hear something beautiful that after Jesus has healed the blind man, he tells him, do not even enter the village. My dear brothers and sisters, we are being invited today to reflect also on the sacrament of penance, the sacrament of confession. This very same notion the priest uses at the end of our confession, and he says, go in peace and do not sin again. And the same Jesus Christ uses to the blind man today, and he says, go and do not enter the village again. It's just the same notion as to go back and do not sin again. Why does Jesus stop the blind man from going into the village? This Jesus is stopping the blind man not to go into the village because the village is full of sin. The village is full of hypocrisy. The village is full of addiction and all noises that would distract you to be in connection with Christ. And Jesus, clearly knowing that once he goes back to the crowd, once he goes back to the village, he is not only going to encounter good people, but at the very same time he's going to encounter people who do not like Jesus. And they are going again to tell him bad things, that he healed you in the name of the devil. My dear brothers and sisters, how many times in our lives do we go for confession, and after the confession we are told, go in peace and do not sin again? Are we really ready not to sin again?